Hello everyone and welcome to today's video, and today is very exciting because all of the January 2026 LEGO Star Wars sets have been revealed. Some of them got revealed a few days ago and then some more yesterday or this morning. So we have 8 sets, I believe, that have been revealed, so we are going to be talking about all 8 of those in this video, and have it from like the least exciting to the most exciting sets, so there's a lot of stuff to talk about. So let's go ahead and dive right in here with the 4+ Grogu's Homestead set for $19.99 in the US. All of these prices are US. So this set, obviously, it's a 4+ set, so not very exciting. I'm not going to be getting this one. I'm sure the majority probably aren't, but this is a nice, like, small set for some kids to get. That's pretty much the whole point of these 4+ sets, but overall, I do think this one is worth the $20 price point. I mean, it does have some nice builds. The one thing that's weird about it, though, is how they built Grogu. And like his face, it just looks weird, and it looks like a anime toy, so it's definitely a weird one here. But then moving along, we have the Clone Shock Trooper mech for a retail price of $14.99, which is lower than the previous mechs have been. I believe the Darth Maul one was $18, so this one's only $15. So that is a sign of LEGO going in a good direction, and there are some other sets in here that are definitely LEGO starting to reduce their prices on some things, but overall this mech is a nice build. It definitely looks like a Shock Trooper mech, like the way you would expect, nothing too crazy. The blaster on it does look a little weird, especially since they put the stud cannon on the end, and it's like the gunmetal gray. It's not the same color as the rest of the blaster, but overall it does look very nice. And then we do get the Clone Shock Trooper minifigure with it. And the main thing that's nice about this set is it is showing us that LEGO is willing to do clone troopers in mechs, so we could get some more like a 501st, 212th, 327th, or so on. But I, like many other people, am hoping that LEGO will start to do name characters, like maybe a Commander Cody, Commander Picard, Captain Rex, whatever, more like the name clone troopers rather than just the standard plain ones like the Shock Trooper. And then next up here, our first buildable character of 2026, that is the buildable BB-8 for a retail price of $90, and I do think this is rather much for this set, especially when you look at the pictures of it compared to some other sets like the AT-AT that we're going to see here in a sec. But this set, I mean, it's a nice build overall. It definitely looks way more polished than the old BB-8, since the old one had a lot of studs all over showing. So this one does look nicer, and then it has the nice display plaque and the minifigure to match all the other buildable characters. One thing about it to me, though, is it looks a little too blocky. I feel like they didn't really get it that round, but it does have some nice large printed pieces on it, and then obviously, as you can see here, it can open up and its tools will pop out. So it is a nice set, but I do not think it is worth the price point of $90. And then next up here, we have the Cobb Vanth Speeder for a retail price of $34.99, and there's a couple things that are interesting with this set. Number one, it shouldn't be $35 really, and I'll explain why once we talk about our next set. But I mean, it feels like this set's a little late. I mean, I don't even remember how long it's been since we saw the Cobb Vanth Speeder, and the one thing about it that really annoys me is the inaccuracy of it, because we have Cobb Vanth fighting Cad Bane in his armor. However, in reality, in the Mandalorian or Book of Boba Fett show, whichever it was, Cobb Vanth had already returned his armor when he fought Cad Bane, so this set is a little weird. It is nice to get this speeder and a Cobb Vanth and new Cad Bane minifigure. I mean, it is a nice build, and you can see it does have this blue milk carton, which I do think is funny. But I feel like LEGO is really justifying their price here, since these are two exclusive minifigures. At least I think the Cad Bane is new. I don't know about that, but the Cobb Vanth definitely is, and it does have the new antenna piece or rangefinder, and then it has some nice wear on the armor, so they definitely put a lot of detail into that one. And then next up here we have another speeder bike from the Mandalorian, and that is the Mandalorian and Grogu speeder bike for a retail price of $9.99, which is the lowest set out of all the ones in this video, and it is pretty nice to get a play set for $10. I mean, I don't remember the last time that happened. Microfighters used to be that way, Brickheads are, but like just a standalone playset is nice, even though it is just a speeder. But the thing that's weird is this is a speeder bike from the Mandalorian or Book of Boba Fett, whatever, and it has 2 minifigures, and so was the Cobb Vanth speeder, yet there's a $25 price difference. So I do think that makes the price of the Cobb Vanth speeder worse, even though this one is smaller and the Grogu minifigure is smaller. But it's still, the other one shouldn't be $35, but this one is a nice $10 build. The speeder bike looks nice, except for the back. The back kind of looks like a little, like, too blocky for me. It kind of, like, just cuts off. But we do get the Mandalorian minifigure in his Beskar armor with arm printing, which is nice. And then, obviously, a Grogu minifigure, so a nice set. And this one is definitely exciting because it shows us that LEGO is willing to make some small $10 play sets. So I'm hoping we could get some other speeders, maybe like the Scout Trooper speeders from Return of the Jedi, maybe some speeders from Rebels. There's a lot of those in there, maybe some smaller BARC speeders with Clone Troopers, but LEGO could definitely do a lot here with that. And next up here we have one of my personal favorites, the Siege of Mandalore Battle Pack for $22.99. And I really like this one because of 2 reasons. The Maul Mandalorians, or Super Commandos, Maul-Dalorians, whatever you want to call them. And then also the build for the Clone Troopers is very nice. The price isn't really that nice. I mean, $23 is pretty much what we're going to get for a battle pack like this at this point, where it's 4 minifigures, but I do think that it is nice that they gave us this, like, super battle pack, quote-unquote, where it has 2 builds and then 2, like, different factions. Like, we have the Clone Troopers and the Mandalorians, but it's not the $45, like, big battle pack. It's this small one, so that is nice. And I personally do like the Maul Super Commandos, and one big issue with them that I know a lot of people had was the silver visor. I personally think that on the male Super Commando, it looks fine. It actually looks really nice because it's surrounded by red, not silver. But on the female one, since the visor is kind of surrounded by the same silver, it just looks bad. It looks incomplete. So I feel like LEGO could have definitely done better there. But overall, I do think they are pretty nice. And it is nice that they included like the little shield that could pop out of the Mandalorian armor. So overall, I do think this is a nice battle pack, and I am glad that we are getting a battle pack in January, and this one is definitely at the top of my list, at least it is for now. And then next up here we have the MIDI scale AT-AT, which is another one that I'm excited for. The AT-AT is pretty much my favorite vehicle in Star Wars, so it is nice to get a smaller version. The one thing I don't really like about it, though, is the price of $64.99. I don't think it's really worth that. I mean, if you've looked at, there's been some pictures from a designer interview where this one looks pretty small, especially, like, compared to the other ones around it. And the funny thing, though, is the BB-8 from earlier in the video is actually, like, the same height as this, and it's quite a bit more, so there's definitely some odd pricing things here with LEGO. I mean, we've got really overpriced sets and then, like, the $10 speeder bikes, so definitely interesting here. But I do like the build of the AT-AT, especially with how they did, like, the legs. The one thing that's a little off to me is the cockpit area. It just looks a little wonky. It looks kind of like a mock. Like, I've seen a lot of mocks of the MIDI scale AT-AT when the rumors started circulating around, so it does kind of look like that, but I still like it. I really like how they made the stand the same as, like, the starships, so that way all your MIDI scale stuff can kind of, like, match. And then another nice thing is how they did include the snow speeder here. The build on the snow speeder isn't too great, but it gets the idea across. And then they did obviously include the string to go around to make it recreate the scene from Empire Strikes Back. So it definitely looks very nice, and this one is also pretty high up on my list. And then last but not least here, we have my favorite set out of these, the Venator class attack cruiser MIDI scale set for a retail price of $79.99, and I love the Venator. It's my favorite capital ship in all of Star Wars universe. I don't have any LEGO version of it, don't have the UCS, don't have the playset. I have like a mini build from an advent calendar, so I'm definitely going to be picking this one up. And when I first saw the pictures of the Venator, I thought it looked a little wonky. Like, it looked like the bridge area was too big, or there was just something off. But the more I've looked at it, the more it's grown on me. It just looks so nice. It looks so, like, clean and awesome, just like it does in the Star Wars universe. They reused the Republic, like, logo piece from the Venator, I think. Or the Acclamator, sorry. I think it is the same piece here. So it does look very nice. It looks very detailed and everything, especially from this angle here where it's head on. But this one will definitely look very good on display, especially next to the Acclamator and Invisible Hand. I don't really know how it scales to the Acclamator. I don't think they are like perfectly in scale, but it is supposed to be scaled with the Invisible Hand. I heard somebody talking about that. It was said in a designer interview or something. And then obviously LEGO likes to throw in their little Easter eggs in these MIDI scale sets, and they actually put a picture on their website of what this one was. And it is the Anakin and Obi-Wan Starfighter are inside the hangar if you lift up the little red rectangle here. So definitely a cool set overall, and I will definitely be picking this one up so I can finally have a LEGO Venator in my collection. Well, folks, those are all of the January 2026 sets that have been revealed. These are all releasing on January 1st of next year, so it is definitely going to be an interesting year. We have this to start it off, so I don't know how I feel about this wave. I mean, there are some really nice sets like the AT-AT, the Venator. I personally like the Battle Pack. I know most people don't, but I personally like it. And there's obviously some other like controversial issues like the BB-8 being the price it is and the Cobb Vanth Speeder being so expensive. So it is the standard, some nice sets, some overpriced sets, some okay sets for our January wave. But overall, I do think it is very nice. I mean, the MIDI scale Venator is definitely boosting it up for me, but that has been it for the video. I hope you enjoyed. Please make sure you like and subscribe to the channel if you did, and then make sure you tune in for the next video.